When Caitlin Lewis started work at Tally's fish processing plant at Motueka, she was given lower paid work because she was a woman. And when she complained to the Human Rights Commission, her partner Brett Edwards was victimised and not re-employed by the company. Their court battle is a landmark case on pay equity in New Zealand.
I started about a week before Caitlin, and I turned up to work. They gave me a set of knives, took me to the filleting stand and showed me how to do it, and off I went.
I got given a smaller pair of knives and I was taken off to the trimming lines, which was sort of the next stage that the fish moves along after it's been filleted.
When I started, I knew I didn't have any knife skills, and I didn't want to be put filleting or trimming. She would have been far better at that sort of work than I was, but I was put there because I was a man. But I didn't have the skills for it, whereas Caitlin did have the skills for it.
From when we'd first met, we'd always done the same jobs, and so we had, we'd always opened our pay packs at the end of the week and got the same pay for the same work, and it was pretty much, hey, I've got, I don't know, $50 less than you. That's wrong. All the women that worked there, and probably a lot of the men as well, were pretty, irritated with the whole situation. When you're a seasonal worker, you just can't rock the boat. Just thought, we'll do something about it, and looked in the phone book and phoned the Human Rights Commission. I wasn't working there at the time that I made the complaint, and I didn't bother putting an application in again. I
was going to go back for my third season. I'd seen my foreman just around town. He'd asked me if I was coming back. I told him I was. I put my application in, and I just didn't hear anything, and didn't hear anything, and didn't hear anything back. And I thought, that's odd, because the year previous, they had got me in before the season started. Then I got in contact with the supervisor who I'd seen on the street, and he didn't know what was going on. And then I mentioned to him that Caitlin had made a complaint, and I guess the penny dropped for both of us that I wasn't going to be re-employed.
The Human Rights Commission attempted mediation between Caitlin and Brett and Tally's, but the company decided not to be involved in the process. The couple applied to the Office of Human Rights Proceedings for legal representation.
The lawyers in the office, such as myself, if we take the case, we represent the clients as any lawyer would, file the papers in the court, the tribunal, and we did so in this case and had a hearing in Nelson over some days where Caitlin and Brett and others gave evidence about how Tally's assigned roles. A crucial legal issue in the case was whether the jobs the men did and the jobs the women did, and in particular the knife work roles, whether they were what the Act calls substantially similar. If they're substantially similar, you need to pay equally. The High Court said the two roles, if you looked at the core tasks involved, the roles were essentially the same. And I believe at Tally's they have actually implemented an EEO policy and have human rights training of their managers. There is some anecdotal information that the rigid gender demarcation is starting to break down. I think as a last resort, litigation has to be there when people won't sit and talk and remedy serious issues. It wasn't just Caitlin that was getting $50 or $60 less. It was all the women in that factory were going home to children, to families, and taking home $50 or $60 that they couldn't spend on groceries. That's a serious injustice. In some ways, it's hoped that by publicising that other employers will start to think and question assumptions that they make about their workplaces so that people don't take home less money for basically working as hard with as greater skills as other people in their workplaces.
It's fantastic that we've got something like the Human Rights Commission. Next season we started to get word, oh, you know, so-and-so's filleting, you know, let all these women have a go. Don't know what the conditions are like in the factory right now, but they definitely changed.
I think everyone's got different skills. Everyone's physically and mentally different. Some people can, some people can't. And that's people, that's not men or women.